All right, today we have something that I think is pretty exciting. We have the finalized production version, sent to customer version of the GEVI 4-in-1 smart pour over machine. No, they still have not changed the name. However, I think this is really cool. The last version that we looked at was not a first prototype, but it was a second prototype that I received, and it was a lot of guessing. What's going to remain? What are they going to fix? What feedback are they going to listen to? Myself and a bunch of other YouTubers were giving a ton of feedback on this. And spoiler alert, they did a great job of listening. So let's quickly run through the final version of this system. First of all, like I said, I think it's really cool to actually get hands-on with this because I feel some kind of a connection to this project now that I had some feedback to offer. This is cool. It has final packaging. It is a real product. The GEVI 4-in-1 Smart Pour Over Coffee Machine. Still a terrible name, but it's a finalized product. You can see here that blue finish that it also comes in. So I think this is really neat. Not a lot has changed about the physical machine. It is still made of all metal. It still feels very sturdy, but there are some subtle physical differences. So let's go over those. The first one that you're likely seeing is the difference in the carafe. It has this new big kind of skirt style heat sleeve. I'm not sure if I love the appearance. It obviously makes sense as you're trying to pour. It protects your wrist and forearm a bit better. To each their own. That is a bit of a change. They have once again given you a stainless steel cone, but the change they've made is they've actually put some holes in the bottom. I'm not recommending you use one of these at home. I never recommend you use metal filters at home. If you're going camping, they're a great option. I don't recommend you use one of these, but they have improved the one that they've included. A better way to go is with this other filter that they've included, which is just a plastic V60. So this is great. They've recognized that this isn't ideal, and they've included a different V60. So very good. And in the box, they also have a few filter papers just to get you started. What else has changed? The logo on the front. I'm still not a fan of having a big logo, period. However, they have changed from it being kind of a printed dark font to it actually being a recessed badge with a bit of chrome in there. I think this one looks better. You let me know, maybe comment down below. It's a change. I think it's an improvement. I still don't love the big logo, but it's a change. Another thing that you might be able to see, I'll try to give a close-up, is with the water level indicators. On the old one, and this is something I didn't notice, but you couldn't really tell where the water level was because it was this smooth gradient. On the new one, they have allowed it to have kind of this sharp edge to show you exactly where the water level is. And one final thing is that the lid on the water reservoir actually screws into place, whereas on here, you could lift it straight off and it just kind of sat on with a rubber seal. Okay, so those are the differences in the physical machines. Not a whole lot has changed, but if you remember in my original review, most of my complaints stemmed from the actual performance and workflow of this system. So my main complaints were with the scale, the water temperature, the spin speed of the nozzles, and the fact that the water didn't start heating until you reach the final stage of the recipe. So let's run through those one by one, starting off with the scale. The scale has seen major improvements. It is completely fixed. It used to have poor kind of accuracy, poor resolution. It is now down to 0.1 of a gram, and the response time is completely adequate. So scale, fixed, check mark. Next, preheating the water. Again, they have listened and they have fixed this. Now, as you go into one of your recipes, it will ask you, would you like to preheat the water to a minimum temperature? So then you click yes, and then as you prep your recipe, it is boiling the water. And then as you click go, it only has a few degrees to make up depending on the recipe that you have chosen. Awesome, they completely listened, check mark. Next, nozzle spin speed. I didn't love the speed that they turned at, and it was a fixed speed on this prototype because you couldn't get a good pre-soak. You couldn't get a good bloom. It didn't spin fast enough. Now they have 4 adjustable spin speeds. The slowest takes 30 seconds per rotation. The fastest is now 15 seconds. However, this is still a bit of an issue because at the slowest flow rate, which is 3 milliliters per second, and the fastest spin speed, 15, 3 times 15, one full rotation, means that the smallest bloom you're able to do is still 45 milliliters. So that might be a bit high for some people. It's definitely an improvement, but 45 milliliters for a bloom, that might be a bit of an issue. Obviously a bit of a nitpick, it's still kind of there. However, they did listen. There are 4 spin speeds. You can pick them and choose as you want. Next, let's talk about the biggest one that I think everybody pointed out. These machines are kind of pointed at specialty coffee drinkers, but the maximum temperature was capped unreasonably low. Now, they've actually explained the reasoning for that, and that is because at higher temperatures and higher flow rates, measuring the volume starts to become unstable. So they cap the temp. Now, understanding, we explained having those higher temperatures is very important for lighter roasts. They have allowed you to go up to 99 degrees Celsius. Check mark. The caveat of this is that they have capped the maximum spin speed at those temperatures. So there's a chart in the user manual. I'm going to post it up here because there's no way I can remember it off the top of my head. But as you can see, as the temperature goes up, your maximum flow rate starts to come down so that they can still accurately measure the water volume. Because as we saw, that is one of the most impressive parts about this machine. It is quite literally milliliter accurate. So they've addressed the scale, they addressed the pre-boiling of water, they addressed the spin speed, and they addressed the maximum temperature of the water. That's a lot of check marks. That's really awesome to see. And they also added in another feature that I'm honestly shocked that I didn't really think of, but it is so good from a usability perspective. And that is when you're using these machines in the barista mode, aka just a really fancy accurate kettle, at the end of those pours, it will ask you if you want to save that recipe, which makes total sense. Instead of programming in your recipe step by step, which is fine, but a little bit tedious, now you can pour as you would with any other kettle, except for with degree perfect and milliliter perfect accuracy. And once you're finished your recipe, just click save instead of programming it in line by line. So that's really cool. Okay, so with all of those changes, with all the feedback listened to, and an additional really cool feature, what do I finally think about this machine? Do I recommend it? Who do I think it is for? It's a bit of a tough question to answer, but I think that there are 3 people who will fall into a niche that will find this interesting. The first are those who don't own any coffee gear at all right now, and they're really intrigued by an all-in-one system. All-in-one systems work. Look at the success of the Barista Express. This is an all-in-one for pour over. That recipe works. That's group number 1. Group number 2 are similar to those who own decent espresso machines. They really understand the value of tinkering. They want to tinker. They appreciate the accuracy that this provides. Milliliter per second accuracy, degree perfect accuracy, and repeatability. They can play with letting their bloom go 10 seconds longer by doing a bunch of different pulse pours. They can just play around. If that sounds completely mind-numbing to you, then you don't fall into that niche. But there are people who are, and they will appreciate the technological abilities of this machine. And the third group, which is something I've come to find, is people who want to translate their knowledge of coffee to someone else a little bit more painlessly. You kind of fall in between the groups. You understand extraction, you have your pour-over recipe for particular beans, but you have a partner or you have guests often over in your house, and they might not be so receptive to learning a 40 milliliter bloom and then pulse pouring up to 150 milliliters and then finishing off they just don't want to learn that. And you want to make them the best coffee possible. They can do it on their own with this machine. You just have to program in your own recipes. That is really cool. So those are kind of the 3 subsets that I see for this machine. Again, congratulations to GEVI for taking all of this feedback and implementing it so quickly. This is a really cool product, and when I started reviewing it, I did not expect to appreciate it as much as I do. I'm really excited to see what comes next from this product line, from this company, and I hope that you guys enjoyed kind of being a part of this product development process from the concept all the way to the final design. So I will have this linked down in the description below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and even consider subscribing if you want to see some more like it in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.